Hey, everybody, it is Taco Tuesday, and we are talking about recruiting tonight and why recruiting isn't scary. It is late October, so I feel like that's a fitting pun. And I have two amazing consultants with me tonight who I had the honor of retreating with last weekend. And they actually spoke on this topic, and they did such a great job talking about recruiting, onboarding, all the things that I was like, hey, what are you doing Tuesday night? Because I know you guys would much rather hear from someone other than me occasionally. So I'm really honored that they both said yes. Um, and I think this is going to be so good. So I'm just going to ask you guys some questions, but when I ask you your first question, you can both answer it. One of you can answer it. I don't care, but just start with a little introduction of yourself, okay? All right, perfect. Because you are new faces for some of our people, for sure. So let's start with something super, super basic because we always have brand new people on these calls or people who um, watch the replay. So my first question to you would be, and I'm going to totally unspotlight myself because they don't need to see me. They just need to see you guys. So one moment, let me remove my spotlight. Okay, even better. So my first question would be, why would anyone want to recruit or build a team? Like, why? So who wants to jump on that
Um,
and
okay.
introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Casey Hannon. I am a director of Team Gnome Nonsense. I am under Shana Grant, and I've been a consultant for 4 years, going on or this November. So I'm a COVID baby, and why would anybody want to start recruiting? Is a good question for me. I feel like because the whole first year, I absolutely that I was not going to recruit. I When I joined, I was and any goal that said I needed to recruit somebody, I was like, nope, I'll figure out how to do it without a team. Um, then I went to my first SFR in Salt Lake City after earning annual sales because I was going to walk across that stage no matter what. And when I left there, I was like, you need to recruit. We need to grow. This is more than just having fun selling. It was truly something I wanted to be a part of and wanted to share with people. Building a team is it's everything. I mean, it really is. It's not just always about the money. To me, this is community and family, and I really, really love our community and family. And most of my consultants have become my dearest friends. Going to these retreats with Karen and Shannon and everybody has just been amazing and life changing. Really, really find out a lot about yourself, and it's a safe place to divulge. But you also, why wouldn't you want to do this with somebody that has a like mind, that you can grow together and build your businesses together?
I could not agree more. I know this is so much more fun. Like I try and tell my new people, like, is there someone you'd want to do this with? Is there someone you'd want to take vacations with? Is there someone you'd want to grow this with? Because it's so much more fun when you do it with a friend, right? Christy,
Yeah, and I think it's like scary too. People think, oh, I don't want to make my best customer a consultant because I'm going to lose out on PRV, but you're going to gain so much more by
mm-hmm.
having that best friend join you.
And you only know so many people, and so when you
Mhm,
expand your circle like that, it makes a huge difference. Christy, you want to jump on that one or not?
mhm.
Yes. So I'm Christy Fennell. I am a director out of Greenville. I just named my team I sent to serve. Um, I I don't know. One of my gifts I feel is just serving others. And so I'll just kind of I'll start with saying, I mean, the same thing. I didn't do, and Shannon will tell you, I didn't do anything in the beginning. I had done all the different companies. I knew about it. I just sat on it for a long time until, like Shannon said, I was going to terminate. Like, and then I just got to going, started on my PRV. Sales came a lot easier. I really was hesitant in building a team. I just didn't see the benefits initially. And I was like, I'm not going to make that much more money. It's not a big deal. Why am I going to do this? Like, I feel like I'm investing a lot of time, but that's the one thing I would change. I would have definitely jumped in at the very beginning and just started out like recruiting right off the bat. I was hesitant, same thing, because I thought if I lose my good customers, then I'm losing my PRV. And it's so much bigger. now I realize than what I realized then. Um, I've grown a lot, learned a lot. So that would be definitely something I would change is recruiting a lot earlier. Um, and just asking everybody. So that was one thing that I really came back strong and changed completely. I didn't like say, oh, this person, like before I had said, oh, I just, I don't think they want to join. So I wouldn't even ask them. Now I just let everybody know about the opportunity, every party that I do. And that has been the biggest game changer for me because a lot of people have joined that I did not think would join. Um, there was something else I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, it's
But
good.
I know. So for me, too, a lot of the recruiting and like building the team has really given me my purpose and my understanding of why I'm doing this. That was my like, I really was kind of like in this stress mode of not having peace about what I'm doing and why I'm spending this energy on doing all this because I need to have like a purpose. Like I work with people at the hospital as well. And so I can, easily see, okay, I'm helping this person. So I was like, how can I help people in Cincy? And how can I do what God's calling me to do? And so I just really struggled with that for a little while until I started building the team. And then I started seeing, okay, this is my purpose, like to help me in these women's lives. Um and just gradually kind of just saw the other benefits and just how there was so many cool things that came together and just it's been really neat for me to be able to see how that has played out.
Yeah, so good. It is so fulfilling too, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes,
yes, it is.
that's what I was gonna add. Like when I first started, I was like you, Karen. I was like, I did whatever the workstation said. Sell 500, check. Go to sensational start, check. Do that. But then you don't really have any idea of what when you get your first teammate and they hit that shooting star and then they hit that sensational start and you see like
Mhm.
Tony laughs at me all the time because my one of my team members that's on here because when I get so excited when they hit their goals or they do or they recruit somebody or because I just know that feeling that they're gonna get to. I love that.
It's like such a proud parent moment too, right? It's
It
kind
is.
of like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, you did. And
Yes.
it's funny because sometimes we get more excited for them reaching their achievements than we do reaching ours for sure. Okay, so let me ask you another question. You guys kind of answered this, but I'm just going to ask if you have anything else to add to it. Sometimes people say like, I'm really scared to recruit. Like that's a scary thing. Like talking to people is scary. So, what would you say to someone who was scared? And then, do you have any like, how do you approach people? Like if you like, where have what have you said to people to get them to join?
You want to go first, Christy, or do you want me to?
Go ahead. I'm thinking for a second.
Um, I was terrified. I'll be honest. I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. I already had that mindset, and when we talked a lot about mindset too, if you have not saw or watched, I don't know, can they do Marlowe's mindset thing, or is that only leaders and up?
That's a good question, but I mean, we could have Marlo always speak on it for sure. Yeah.
It's really good because people believe their self more than they believe others. So when you're thinking, I can't recruit, it's scary to recruit, or, all of those things, we're our own worst enemies sometimes. So when I started, my very my very first recruit was a girl I went to school with, and she is an optometrist. So she actually messaged me and she said, "Can I join your team?" And I said no because I was like, I don't want to build a team. I don't want anybody. And she's like,
Same.
I was like, why would you want to join my team? And she's like, because I love the product. And I was like, but you're a doctor. You don't need the money. And she's like, it's not about the money. And I was like, oh, okay. She just wanted to be able to get her product. And if she could get it at a discount, that was even better. And she shares with her family and the stuff. And so I thought, okay, that changed my mindset a little bit because I joined for money. I'll be honest. I had two girls in high school, and played every sport that there was, and it was during COVID. And my husband's like, if you like it, and I'm like, well, I don't know if I like it because I joined. We were building the house, and I literally bought my first warmer and put it in the closet and hadn't even opened it. And so he said, if you can make enough money to run and pay for all the fast food that you guys have to do, then let's do that. And I was like, okay. And then as it became something of my own to do when I started meeting more people, and then as I grew, it was like I could not only pay the running money, then a small bill, and then it just got to be more, and that was just the self gratification of something of my own that I can help and give back to my family by being able for them to be able to do that. So it is scary to join, but then the more you do it, the easier it gets. Don't be afraid to ask, like Debbie Pitts-Palmer says, ask, just ask. I mean, all they can do is tell you no. It's not like they can bite you or whatever. I am a jokester. All of my people know that. And so I always usually end the conversation if I know them very well. I'm always like, "So you ready to join?" And they all laugh, and most of them are like, "Nah, not right now." And um, honestly, it's like I said, 4 years, and I had one of my very first customers and one of my best customers. I always end the conversation with her and like, "Today's the day that you're gonna join or whatever." And she's like, usually like, "No." And we were on a Zoom call, and she messages back, and she's like, okay, you got me. And I was like, well, I'm not going to say what I said at first, but I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, holy crap. So, um, don't stop asking just because they say no. It may not be a right time for them. It may not be, I mean, timing is everything in people's lives, you know.
Mhm.
So that makes a big difference. And like she said, just ask everybody. It gets easier to
It
work it
does.
into the conversation. Be authentically you. Get to know people. Shannon did a training with us last year, and it was all about making those authentic connections. So I started in January with all of my party people. Anybody that joined, participated, I didn't send them a big spammy message about buying or purchasing. All I did was send them a quick note and say, thanks for joining and participating in the party. Your host really enjoys it, whatever her name is. And then if you have time, I have 3 quick questions. And most of them answered back yes. Before I would have never asked that. And if you don't ask, you don't know. It was usually just, have you ever heard of Scentsy or do you use Scentsy? Do you have a consultant? And then what's your favorite scent? And most of them will take 5 seconds to answer that. And
Yeah,
then
and they're
you can
not
start.
intimidating questions either, right?
No, no,
Yeah. But
I mean,
it's really getting to know them, asking
yeah,
authentic questions
yeah,
for
yep.
sure.
And
For sure.
that's how I get a lot of my recruits is because of the kids in all the sports. And um, testers are great for little kids to play with at games. It keeps them occupied so mom can watch the games. And all of my testers have little scratch marks and dig marks in them from the kids playing in them. But every game that I ever get my testers out or my stickers out or whatever, I have had kids walk away covered in little scent stickers before, and their parents come over and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "It's okay." But I've always had about 2 or 3 people come over here and say, "I can smell you all the way down there. What is that?" And
Right.
so there you go. You don't have to say anything.
I used to always put together fundraiser packets or basket parties or
Yes.
whatever, like while I was waiting for soccer practice or cheerleading, whatever. But
Yes.
always had conversation. So good.
Yep.
Christy, what you got? Anything you want to add?
Well, she's kind of summed up pretty much everything I would say. Ask,
That's
ask, and
okay.
ask. Yes. So that's what I was saying earlier. Like I totally went a different route. I mean, I really used to like just be very selective, not ask a lot of people unless I really thought they might be the ones that wanted to do this. Now I just let everybody know. I use the a lot. I do the flip the party for the host. I love doing that. I love them already having orders, already being active, already getting started. Um, that gives them a good boost to start out with. So I always ask now, like at the end, even if we hadn't talked about it, I'll ask them and just say, hey, I want to offer this opportunity to you. You're able to do, and I just let them know what it is. And, of course, some say no and, some say yes. And I've had a lot of yeses that way. Um, Yes, and it gets easier. Definitely gets easier. Like I said at the beginning, I was very hesitant, didn't ask a lot. I was kind of, nervous what they might think. And as I just asked, it just gets easier. With anything else you do, and practice, it just gets easier the more you do it. So I just think you just have to get out there and just do it. Like make it very simple, short to the point. Don't go into a lot of detail. Same thing when you're asking to do parties and stuff. It just needs to be very basic. If you give them too much, what is it, word vomit? Like it
Mhm.
just is going to go out one ear, and it's just not. They're not going to be receptive to it. It's too much information. So I keep it very simple and short. I make it, sound like it's from me. I don't make it somebody else's stuff. I just am very down to earth, you know.
So
So
let me ask you this, because that was actually, those were two of my next questions. So that was perfect. My, so do you give them, like, do you just talk to them, or do you actually have like a packet of information? Like in the beginning, I had this big packet of information that was way too much. Nobody read it. So personally, I just focus more on one-on-one conversations, but I know a lot of people still do like packets. So what do you do?
I have not done packets. Especially this last year, I really like thankfully been able to grow, a lot. And
Mhm.
with my time that I have, there's literally, but only but so much time. And so I have not had time to do all the things, and you don't need to do all the things. And that's what I've come to realize. Like you can make it simple and you can be successful with it being that way. And for busy people like me, like that is the season I'm in, like it has worked for me. I just go and do it, and I don't have any like, crazy things that I put together or anything like that.
Same, same. Yeah.
Mhm.
What about
Yeah.
you? Are you a
One,
packet person, or are you just a
no, no,
chat? Yep.
no, I am a one-on-one.
Hmm.
99% of my business is either run in person or on Messenger. I feel, unless they're just really good friends, I even feel text is really personal. I feel like Messenger, because they know that's how I usually contact them to begin with. So that's how they know I'm going to contact them. I'm not a project broadcast user. I know everybody keeps trying to, but every time I look at it, I'm like, I'm still going to be writing a message because I can't do one message and just change the names or whatever. Because I add all those personal things,
You
hey,
build
hey, your kid,
relationships. Yeah.
yeah, our kids
Yeah.
are playing soccer. One thing I did change with my parties this year, though, on Facebook is how you do your little party tracker, and it's like you get this many half offs and this many sales. My $500 mark has now joined to host kit instead.
Mm,
You've earned a host kit.
mhm,
And
I
so
like
I've
that.
turned that, and it gets a lot of conversation. They're like, "What is that? What do you mean? What have I
Hmm.
earned?" So that's a good conversation starter instead of just like, "Oh, you've earned three half off and this much money." I just put host kit at the $500 mark, and that strikes a lot of conversations. And also with my host, I tell them like I'm like, hey, your party's doing great. It's at this point, and this is how much money you would make if you joined. And sometimes they're like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want my rewards. I'm like, that's fine, but at least they know. It gets them thinking about it. I've had hosts that have come back, literally close their parties and then turn around and come back and be like, can I still get that? I'm like, no, but we can work on it. So
We
we
can
usually
figure
do
that
another
out for
party.
you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, another question. Sometimes, so at Superstar Director Summit, we kind of like just speakers that stood up and talked for like 10 minutes, almost like little TED Talks like they did at SFR. And one of them, I can't remember, it may have been Whitney Hebel. I don't remember. Someone stood up and they literally just had a list of where their like previous recruits had come from. And it was really interesting because it got people thinking about oh, I never thought about that or whatever. So you don't have to like recite where all your last recruits come from, but just off the top of your head, if you think about a couple of recruits that have joined under you, how did you meet them, or where did they come from? Were they hosts? Were they customers? Did you meet them at Target? Like,
Um, my last, I had the last two came from parties, and then one was a host and one was at an event. she
I
was
like
coming
it.
at me, and I thought I had sold her something bad or done something good because she was on a mission when she was coming for me, and she's like, "I smelled you clear out there, and I wasn't going to spend money today." And I was like, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry, but I'm not really sorry. Please
Yeah,
come
I'm
on
sorry,
in.
but I'm not sorry.
Mhm.
Chrissy, what about you?
Yeah, parties. A lot of my hosts, like I said, I'll flip the party to them. I'm trying to look back and see. A couple people are from our church. I did meet a couple people from vendor events. Um, a couple of the girls, our boys go to school together. Yeah, that's pretty much most of the people, like events or my parties.
And
Air,
do you think
airplanes are a good place.
airplanes are good? Airplanes are a good place. I'm the
You'd be
first to agree.
trapped.
Yeah. Sit next to you like for a couple hours. It's a good, and that's interesting because I mean I have recruited people from airplanes, but not with the intent of recruiting them, just building
Right.
authentic relationships and conversations on a plane. And I used to, I came out of COVID and I was very focused on like I didn't have to leave my house. I could order, like Target could deliver to my door, Instacart could show up, DoorDash, like Amazon could be at my house every day. I didn't have to talk to people. So when I got in the habit of talking to people again, I usually would have gotten on a plane and put my AirPods in and paid no attention to anything. But some people do want to strike up conversation. I try not to be that person really loud on a plane that's like where no one can sleep around you on that 5 a.m.
Hmm.
flight. But
Right.
but it is interesting how many I truly feel people are placed where they're placed for a reason, and that's a
Hmm.
lot of coincidences. So, anyways,
So don't be afraid to brand yourself too, because that strikes
yes,
up conversations. That I chose, if you went to SFR in Charlotte and did the fragrance thing. So woods are my favorite. And so that shirt strikes up a lot of conversations
hmm,
because of
yeah.
what's on. It doesn't even really say Cincy except right here, but that big old target looking thing on your chest is like, what is that? What is that?
Why are you wearing that
Yeah.
for sure?
Yeah.
Um,
When I was in line on the way home from the retreat, though, there was two girls in front of me, and I was like thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna talk to them." When the one girl turned around and she's like, "Oh my gosh, look at all your Scentsy stuff," because I had my bags, and the other girl's like, "I'm a consultant," and I'm like, "Dang it."
mm, you're like, wow, great to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Where you at? Where you from?
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's close with this, and then if you guys have a couple minutes for questions, we'll let them ask questions. But if you don't and you have to go, that's fine too. I'm going to ask you two questions. You can choose if you want to answer both or one. They're very different from each other. One would be if you could give one piece of advice to a new consultant, what would it be? And then the other would be share one thing you do for onboarding your new consultants. I can repeat the questions too. I probably won't repeat them exactly the same because I had them written different, but
One,
either, one thing you do to onboard or a piece of advice for a brand new consultant.
so one thing that we've been doing for onboarding is the group messaging, building the team that way, and then getting them together. The ones that are local. Um, but the messaging is good. The messenger is good with the group, so they can build, relationships and stuff like that. And then the advice that I would give is one piece of advice I would give is to definitely go ahead and start recruiting to build a team. Now, I know everybody wouldn't be ready to do that or might not be, but at least having the information and looking at it and considering it because it's not something I even considered at the beginning. And I wish I would have started earlier.
Totally agree. And like happened to two of us, sometimes people will come to you and say they want to join. And if you don't have any clue, like I told the first person, I don't think you can join under me. I don't even know how that works, right? Go to my
Hmm.
sponsor. And she was like, you're crazy. No, I want to join under you, right? But I didn't know anything about direct sales, how it worked, any of that kind of thing. So, okay, Casey, what have you got? Anything you want to add?
The onboarding, that's what I've been doing the last 2 years. I had 8 girls join in August last year, which was just crazy for me because I don't know that that'll ever happen again. But anyway, I was so overwhelmed because I was like, I don't know what to do. So instantly started making group chats just for my new girls. So now when I get two or three, I start a new chat with just them. That way they're comfortable asking questions, they get to know each other. We do a lot of chatting of not about Cincy, just so they get to know each other and
Yeah.
kind of see how it works. And then they're comfortable asking. I feel a lot of times, I mean, I invite them to my team page, obviously, and we have a team chat, but that smaller group sessions does a lot more. It seems like they're more comfortable to ask questions because they don't feel like asking the new questions and that kind of stuff. Because I was not, I went to school to be a nurse. I had no idea anything about direct sales. I still feel like I don't know a lot about the business side of it, but I was just having fun selling. And is what was the other one? Advice. Just be you. You know, don't be afraid to talk about Cincy. Be authentic. Be silly. Be whatever you are normally. And try to give yourself grace for not knowing what all is going on. Like, you don't have to know everything. You know, people always
You're right.
say
Yeah.
something, and one of the first things most of them say, is like, I'm not a salesman. I don't know how to sell. And I always say, that's good because I'm not hiring salesmen. I want somebody that's going to use the product. I was like, that's all you got to do. And I mean, a lot of times I don't think they realize it's that simple. They try to think, okay, gosh, what do I got to do? How am I supposed to know all of this? And just letting them know that you're not going to know all of it at first. And I still don't know all of it, and it's okay. It's a learning process.
And really, we never know all of it, right? Like it changes, it evolves, it grows, and
Yep.
you don't have to know everything to be successful. You learn as you go. You continue to learn. You never stop. You're always growing. You're always evolving. Um, I think that advice about I'm not a salesperson. I think that is so good because sometimes people will say, well, I'm not good at selling things. That's great. That's great. You don't, this isn't like there's no class on selling, right? You're sharing what you love and that kind of thing. Or, I'm not pushy. Well, that's good because I'm not looking for someone who's pushy,
Yeah.
right? I want you to
Mhm.
sell to people who want the product. I don't want you to arm twist someone who doesn't want it into buying because they'll never even use it. So,
Yeah,
um,
I don't want you cold messaging 100 people or whatever,
no, absolutely
just
not.
just be yourself and say, I never said I was selling anything. I just said, hey, I did something crazy and I joined Cincy. And then I didn't even know what Cincy was when I joined, really. I was in the party. And so then everybody's like, oh my God, what's it? You don't know what
You do.
Cincy is? I was like, no, I'm selling it, but I don't know what it is.
All right. Anything either one of you would like to add? We'll open it up for questions, but I can tell you my people are not they don't ask a lot of questions usually. So usually the content's so good. They're like, no, that was great. So uh, we do, before we take questions, let me unspotlight you guys. And we always do a group photo. And our photographer has shown up, I see. Hold on a sec. Let's see. Change the view. Okay, perfect. Is she, let me see if she's on her phone or if how she is. Where is she? I swear she joined. Hey,
I think she's at baseball.
Oh, is she at baseball? Okay, Shannon, you want to take the picture?
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Okay, you guys, there are 2 pages, so you have to like keep looking, even though you think that she's taking a picture of you.
Okay, ready? I'm gonna go with the first page first. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Second page. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Does anyone have any? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.